Let me just say a couple things. I know if anybody can get in shade at all, my brothers are available. I'll set it further if there's not in shade. Hey, so let's talk about what we're doing for a second. Because at least if we walk away with this with a little bit of sense of why, then the hot feet on the black asphalt will make a little more sense. We're talking about doing something that nobody's required to be here. You guys, you want to come see a show? You don't have to walk down the streets with us. Don't leave though. Now you're here, so stick with us. But you came here by choice. You decided to show up. What we saw when now it's been 7-8 years ago, the first time we went to Africa, we didn't go there as Hanson to go try and act like rock stars and try and save the world. We went because we were really inspired by people that we were friends with, people that had a small business, other creative people, doctors that were working in these communities. And what we were really struck by was you hear these statistics, right? You hear about extreme poverty, you hear about HIV/AIDS, especially because it's something that impacts a lot of young people. And it has gotten out of hand. In our generation, you've got this huge group of people that have just died, and there's a gap where there's grandchildren and children. The working class people that are keeping these countries moving are dying. And they're passing this disease to the children, and so much of the connecting dots are extreme poverty. So we on our own can't solve extreme poverty one person at a time, but we can look at what one or two people or a group of people need and go, you know what, this comes down to really clear stuff. And we don't want to raise money and throw it at a government and organization and wait for it to trickle down. We want to go and give money to a specific group and build a school. We want to drill a clean water well. We want to buy shoes. Now, maybe that's just me, but I think we've seen our generation begin to do things differently and to raise money differently and to organize differently because, in part, look at all this technology I'm staring at right now. Technology has connected us, but it's up to us to define how we use the tools we have, how we use the greater information. You can sit there and find out anything you want. So when you find out the statistics about a disease like HIV and how it's impacting the next generation of people, and you look at different parts of the world and you say, well, do I make it something that I'm a part of or do I turn the other way? We are very pro making whatever your dream is happen. I mean, we started our own small business when we were little, and we've always followed our dreams. So people having success, people thriving and we're really proud to be from this country and have those opportunities. But I also think that when people decide to turn those passions and turn those ideas and turn those businesses, those families, those people of influence, that's when you really start getting things done. Not when you turn and you go, well, isn't somebody supposed to do that? Isn't that supposed to, why are all those people so sick? Where are the people that have money? Or where are the people that have time? Time is the thing we always say, well, I don't have time for that. You don't have time for anything that you don't make time for, right? You can always come up with an excuse. And we feel like, as long as we can talk about something and do something and not ask anybody to do something we wouldn't do ourselves, then we can get a lot done. If you look at the statistics in Africa, you see millions of kids now that don't have families. They were already in situations of extreme poverty. A lot of them are maybe raised by their grandparents or they're raising themselves or their brothers and sisters. You have communities where HIV/AIDS is rampant. Some people don't know what it is. Some people are afraid to deal with it. And the basic needs come down to this. They come down to things like a 35-cent-a-day drug that a young pregnant woman that has HIV can take for less than a month, and she will be 98% likely to not transmit that disease to her child. That's one of the most important components, stopping the cycle. Young women, are there any moms here? I know there's a few. Yep. Okay. Any dads? I know there's a couple guys that have kids. Can you yes, don't worry. Right here, here's the dad. Can you imagine what it would feel like to know you have a deadly disease? You're about to have the most amazing moment in your life, have a child, and you know you're going to give your child a deadly disease. And know that you can't do anything about it, or because you don't know what to do. And if you do know, you know that it's 35 cents a day for maybe a month, and you could be almost guaranteed to not give that disease to your child. What you guys are doing today is, in some way, if you walked for medicine, for instance, if anybody said, I want to walk for healthcare or medicine, I don't remember if it says healthcare or medicine on the cards, on the sheets, but yeah. You are walking to buy that medicine, okay? If you're walking for clean water, you're walking to drill a well so that, for instance, a young mom that does that has that child, maybe she's in a community that has no clean water, or a lot of these situations they don't have clean water. She can now make sure that she can use formula to feed her child and not transmit the disease through breastfeeding. These are the kinds of things that are kind of like, do we really need to mess with this? This is so far away. This isn't our problem. But it's so amazing when you realize that you, 1% at a time, can get done to change these things. Now, let's talk about today. It's hot, all right? The heat is coming. Actually, this is pretty nice. But when you're walking barefoot, it sure feels hot, right?
Yes.
Okay? The reason we walk barefoot is because we're connecting with what we're actually doing. We're raising money and raising awareness in some cases to help provide some of the most basic tools for life. For somebody that literally wakes up and says, don't know if I'm going to get clean water. I'm really sick. I'm not going to get medicine. I'm probably not going to find a way